Book Krrsantan crispa uba.
Ooh, the twins are back.
Through the Oh, another gift, another goodie. What's coming out of the Star Wars toy?
Oh,
Rancor.
We got Rancors back.
Cool. Yes, is it
that-
Moochie?
Is it Moochie?
Moochie? No, I don't know. It's Moochie.
It's Danny
Wait,
Trejo.
That's Trejo.
Machete.
Yes! I love it!
Wow, definitely.
Robert Rodriguez just pulling out all of his stops to
That's-
get his buddies in this.
Oh my god, and
This is
definitely a
great.
more fit Rancor trainer.
Yeah, hey,
The previous
no shame
gentleman.
to Malakili.
Yeah, aw.
But what is this? Why just these gifts?
Yeah.
There's something backhanded about this. I know it. Welcome back to New Rockstars. The Book of Boba Fett Episode 3 takes from us our Tusken family, but gives us in exchange Danny Trejo and Stephen Root and a depressed Rancor.
Yeah.
But like any odd exchange, what's the catch to this gift? Like, why are the Hutts backing off Tatooine for real? And what are those gropey twins really planning? What the Fett?
All I could think about was a threesome with Boba Fett and the twin. Like, what are they really planning? Threesome.
The most roundabout threesome. They go back to Nal Hutta being like, why isn't he getting it?
We're trying I'm putting myself out there this year.
We give him a Wookiee, we give him a Rancor. What's not to get about that? Well, this is Wookieeleaks. It's New Rockstars Book of Boba Fett After Show and our weekly reaction to the latest in Star Wars. I'm Erik Voss. My Easter egg breakdown for episode 3 is coming tomorrow, but right now I am here reacting to this episode with Tommy Bechtold.
Ooh, baby, a short and sweet episode of Book of Boba Fett. Not a what I would call a lengthy thrill ride, but a thrill ride nonetheless. A very slow moving thrill ride at times. Just gingerly moving about the streets of Mos Espa, but
yeah,
it was.
We'll definitely talk about that.
Yes.
But like, I just have to point out to everyone who's saying that this street chase moved too slow. Like, watch any street chase, whether
Yes.
it's in Back to the Future
Yeah.
or American Graffiti, or even Fast and the Furious, the shots that are not CGI.
Yeah.
Things are moving slower when they're actually shooting it.
Absolutely.
Than it seems like it is with editing.
Absolutely, and this was it had to move slow because they needed to show all of those great characters, all of the great cameos and stuff. You couldn't do it without it.
Every little thing. We needed, you can't just be a motion blur streak of that droid that toted Padme and Anakin around.
That's right.
You need to get a reaction shot where he goes, whoop, 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 whoop.
Yeah.
Scoots out of the way. I mean, I loved it.
They wanted to say "oh my" so bad, like it was like they wanted an Anthony Daniels "oh my, oh my."
All we needed was like someone to carry a cake or
Yes.
something like that.
Well, we
Large
got a
cake.
Looney Tunes shattering portrait. We got that.
Yeah, we did. A Ralph McQuarrie painting.
And this is the second Ralph McQuarrie reference in 2 weeks now, because that
I know.
some of our viewers were smart to point out the tentacle tree branch scene was based on some concept art from Ralph McQuarrie. So we're getting some McQuarrie
It's
tributes. Yeah.
Production design is amazing here.
Yeah.
Well, let's break down what happened in this episode.
Yes.
Episode 3 begins with 8D8 Matt Berry. Anytime I hear his voice, I just can't not think of Jackie Daytona. He breaks down essentially what Bib Fortuna's operation was. The 3 families of Mos Espa. You got the Trandoshans, you got your Aqualishes who gonna be sleeping with the fishes soon, and then you got your Clutonians.
Tuesdays were for the Clutonians.
I just love the breakdown of that. I would have loved if we saw like, a Goodfellas style police FBI chart of who
there was Billy Two Gills, and then there was Jimmy Three Blasters, who always blasted a person 3 times.
How's your mother? But we meet this water broker, Lortha Peel, played by the amazing Stephen F.
Yes.
Root. And I call him Stephen F. Root. I know he's Stephen Root, but because the the University of Florida, where many of us at New Rockstars all went, the acting studio where our improv club would always try to sneak in front of play rehearsals was called the Stephen F. Root Acting Studio because he was an alumnus of the University of Florida, and he paid like $100,000 in donations to build out their Nadine McGuire theater and dance pavilion. But the theater, I have to use my platform now to shout out how terrible that theater department was to us. They were huge assholes. I will never forgive them. They canceled our main stage show for no reason because some of their grad students were drinking beer at one of our shows, and they blamed us for it. So f*** you, University of Florida Theater and Dance, circa 2008. You made my life hell then. Anyway.
Do you think every time Stephen Root appears on a high-budget prestige television show, like another petal drops from a tree in his house, and when the tree is bare, he will have done his service, and his soul can finally be free? Because he shows up on everything. I mean, like at a certain point, Stephen Root will appear on your show, whether you cast him or not. Like, I feel like he shows up and he's like, yeah, I'm North Appeal. And they're like, well, it's Stephen Root, so I guess he's right. He's not even on the call sheet. He's just there. He's just there.
He's like, I feel like my name should be North Appeal. I'm going to play a water broker who jacks up my prices too much, and we buy it. It feels so simple and mundane to have this guy in your world. I love that he's so low stakes. Yeah. Like, if you're going to get Stephen Root, you could make him like the big bad of this show. That's how great this actor is.
Absolutely.
But he's like, no. I'm going to play like middle management, just one step above the local street gangs who's getting ripped off.
Absolutely.
Like, great casting there.
Excellent.
Well, he asks Boba Fett to punish these gang, and they're these cyborgs. They're people, and I love that he says that with like a sneer, not realizing that Fennec Shand is augmented with cybernetic parts as well. Like, it's Star Wars, a ton of people got cybernetic. Luke Skywalker's got a cybernetic hand. Exactly. Why are you so grossed out by that? But they pay him no respect, and I love how he keeps saying, "I'm insulted on your behalf." He's like the little jerk who goes up to you, he's like, "These people are talking shit about you. What are you gonna do about it?"
It's not me. I didn't say this. You didn't hear it from me. But
you didn't hear this from me, but
I love
how he says it again. Like he's got like one thing he can say. He's like the Marco Rubio in the debates. He's like,
Fennec Shand's just going to accuse him of having small hands next. They're going to be
well, we meet this gang, and it includes Sophie Thatcher. She is having a moment right now between this and Yellow Jackets. She's great. And they ride these colorful Vespa type speeders. These seem to be inspired by the bikes driven by mods. These are like the whole youth gangs of London in the 60s, and they had these bright colors. I just love that kind of cultural pull.
It was cool. It did remind me a little bit of the diner scene in Attack of the Clones. It was like slightly like, this is very colorful. Very, very colorful. Yes. But I still, listen, I would die to drive one of those speeder bikes around. So
it's more color than we're used to seeing outside of big urban centers like Coruscant. Like, to see this much color on Tatooine, outside of like even the pod racers are all dusty and caked in mud and stuff. These seem like nicely polished, right out of like a toy pinball machine, So anyway, but Boba makes the right decision here. He sees that this gang has no work, and that's really the problem. It's unemployment. It's lack of employment opportunities. It's jobs, baby. So he gives them jobs as enforcers, really pissing off Lortha, and says, lower your prices in a clean stroke. Gives people jobs and says, your prices are too damn high.
This is Boba's Build Back Better plan, I think, is what he probably
really is. But it has two tiers of it, right? It also does a bit of price controlling.
Build Back Better, back to a lot of bees.
Yeah. Right.
Boba.
Well, we get another of these flashbacks, and it is haunting because Boba remembers this time when he leaves his Tusken tribe, not knowing this will be the last we see them alive. And he goes to collect the toll from the Pikes and Mos Eisley, the shithole that he mentioned earlier in the episode.
Go back to Mos Eisley.
We see those stormtrooper helmets on the Pikes that we saw in Mandalorian episode 5. And we actually get a quick cameo by Amy Sedaris as Pelimoto, walking by with her pit droids. Love it. And then we get... we meet the Pyke leader, who says that he's already paying for protection from that Nikto gang, and he names them the Kenton Striders. Okay, and Boba will have to settle things with them. And I love this recurring thing of every person Boba Fett meets with keeps like punting. He's like, no, you have to go talk to this person. No, you
it's actually your princess is in another castle.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But upon his return, Boba gets his own Uncle Owen Aunt Beru moment and finds that Tusken tribe massacred, apparently by the Kenton Striders. But we're not, they just had their obvious symbol painted there.
Yeah.
Anybody could have painted that symbol.
Yeah.
I think it's probably the Kenton Striders, but we'll see. We'll talk
there's
more about
been a lot of deception this season. We'll talk more about that. But,
Yes.
one theme has certainly been this year of, as you said, passing the buck onto someone else. And saying like, oh, it couldn't have been me. It was this person. So I think I
playing
like
enemies against each other.
Yes.
It was just Stephen Root out there spray painting like, does the L go this way? But Boba wakes up either the best or the worst way to wake up from any nap, screaming Wookiee in your face, Black Krrsantan.
Yes.
Somehow he got into this palace, and he is savage.
Oh, yeah.
We see a Wookiee bite, which is vicious. It's just a nasty fight. It's awesome, but Boba is just like he's barely clothed.
Full Viggo Mortensen in Eastern Provinces. Full Viggo.
Yeah, it's wet, it's hot.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
But then they're able barely to restrain this Wookiee. Everyone's pitching in here, but it's really just Fennec Shand being like, "Wait, just try to get him right over that trapdoor. Almost. Can you take a swing at him? Let him bite your face. Okay, great, and we got him. Nice little trap there. And they are able to keep him down there, but the Hutt twins then arrive, and they bring with them as a gift a Rancor, handled by Danny Trejo.
Yes.
And now they're promising to leave Tatooine because they were misled by Mayor Max Shays, and now they're saying there's a syndicate that has claimed this territory. They don't want any part of it. They're afraid, and then they bounce. Now, Danny Trejo explains the intricacies of the Rancor personality. He name drops the witches of Dathomir, which I love. And,
Shadows of the Empire.
That's right. And he explains how Rancors are complex emotional creatures that imprint on the first human they see. And so it seems like Fett forms this bond with the new Rancor, hopes to train it, and then Fett and Shand and those cyborg guards go to Mos Espa to question Makshis, but the mayor is absent. The major domo goes, "I'll be right back." We hear a car screech outside. And then we get this super slow but delightful paced speeder chase through the streets of Mos Espa, crashing into every droid and alien costume that they have in the warehouse at Skywalker Ranch, but it's wonderful.
Yes.
And then it ends with the Major Domo crashing Biff style into a cart of Melaroon fruit, which I just love that. Love seeing those things bounce around. I think we saw it on a menu at the end of Mandalorian season 2, so now we get to see those delicious looking fruits falling all over tables.
I want a Melaroon fruit right now for breakfast with a little cottage cheese in it.
Yeah. Oh, that sounds great.
Yeah.
But the gang corners him. He says that again. He punts. He goes, Mayor Shaiz is working with the Pikes. So everyone's just saying you got to go over here. You got to go over here. And then one of Fett's informants reports that more Pikes are arriving in to the planet, and the crime boss states that this empire is ready for war. But what kind of war is he going to have to fight? Are his numbers anywhere near?
It does not seem that way right now.
Especially with his Tusken connection seemingly
a little
erased.
crispy. They're not original recipe anymore. They are extra crispy, unfortunately.
Yeah. And it just sets up some interesting questions over, well, then what is Boba Fett really fighting for then?
Right.
We were thinking maybe he was trying to claim this throne and then give the Tuskens a seat at the table. Has he formed alliances with other Tusken tribes since then that we don't know about? Or is this really a vengeance quest, which is also very exciting to see
especially
just rage for what happened.
Boba Fett and Fennec Shand, I will watch them mow through people any day,
Well, we want to thank our merch partners at Epic Hero Shop. They have a new shirt in their latest Obsession series inspired by the Book of Boba Fett. Comes in 3 colors, and I think the military green one is most character appropriate. They look amazing. Definitely get your hands on one of these. And when you grab a latest Obsession shirt, you'll get the added option to write in a custom shout out that will appear at the bottom of these Book of Boba Fett after shows. Like we got James asking, where do you think they will go with the introduction of BK? I ultimately think this is going to lead to either an Obi-Wan Kenobi series parallel or a cameo there, or introduction of Dr. Aphra into live action. I would love either one of those. Nashin asks, who would win in a fight, Boba Fett or
this is really tough because Fennec Shand, it seems at this point, more ruthless than Boba Fett. Boba Fett's kind of like had enough life experiences where I think he would maybe show mercy, and Fennec Shand would take that opportunity to slit his throat.
Yeah, I think so. And then Justin asks, do you think Boba Fett killed the Sarlacc making his escape? I mean, I don't know how a Sarlacc would recover. It seems like his metabolism is super slow. Right. I would imagine his healing processes are super slow.
And I think the stray tentacles kind of implied some sort of medical trauma.
It looked kind of limp.
Yeah.
Dead. Yeah, for sure. Well, check out all of our awesome merch options at newrockstarsmerch.com. But let's dive into the deeper questions we have from this episode. Where do we want to start, Tommy?
Erik, I've been wondering since I watched this episode only a few short hours ago, what the Fett are the true intentions of the Hutts?
Yes. Well, the Hutts surprisingly back off of Boba this episode. As soon as BK just fails to kill him, they admit to sending Black Krrsantan to go kill him.
I mean, not a bad strategy. Send a murderous, teddy bear to kill Boba Fett.
A guy who loves to take healing naps 4 times a day.
Take 6-7 naps.
With very little protection, it turns out. Yeah, a pretty winning strategy. But they don't want Krrsantan back. They're like, all right, our contract is done with you. And then they leave this Rancor with Boba, and they don't really seem to be getting anything out of this exchange, which is super uncharacteristic of the Hutts. And they say they want no part of this territory right now. They forced their litter to carry them back into town. They came all the way out here just to say this. One of those carriers is like, we have hologram
just
phones
use
in
the
this
tech.
universe, right?
Yeah.
Just use the tech. Please, we've taught you how to use it.
Please.
We'll show you again.
Grandma.
We'll set up the call for you.
You have texting on your iPhone, Grandma. Grandma, you just text us. You do not need to use a landline.
Those Hutts are like, that's not going to send a message at all.
I prefer person to person. Why are we talking like what?
I don't know. And it's not okay that we're talking
not okay.
this way.
I think it's because the way Hutts talk in Huttese is like...
Yeah, we should not try to speed Huttese, and then we offend no one. But I'm dying to know what changed with the Hutt circumstances for them to be acting this way.
I'm not sure anything, Erik. I'm sorry to interject, but I wonder if it's like one of those too good to be true gifts. Like they conveniently release Black Krrsantan from his contract and then encourage Boba to keep him a gift. They're like, keep this guy. No, this is my thing with the show and with Wookiees in general. I have such an attachment to Chewbacca that I see a Wookiee and I'm like, there's no way that they could do evil. Black Krrsantan is a murderous, gladiator, as Boba refers to him. Perhaps they wanted a Wookiee on the inside, Erik. Perhaps they wanted a Wookiee on the inside.
Oh, you think Black Krrsantan? They were hoping he would keep Black Krrsantan as like his own bodyguard, and then he'd report back to them. I have to say, I love Black Krrsantan's little jog away from me.
It was such a it's like whatever the Wookiee version of Uncanny Valley was in that moment. Black Krrsantan became a human performer in a Wookiee costume for me because his running style was just dad at a softball game. It was like, all right, I'm gonna head out.
It reminds me of like my favorite gag from the first couple episodes of Parks and Rec, where at one point they just have Aziz run away. He avoids canvassing, and they just stay on Aziz running down the sidewalk, and then they just go, he runs weird.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Which is how I felt about Black Krrsantan. He doesn't run that weird. It's just fun to see somebody in a big furry costume jogging on your desert.
It just definitely was like a dad jog. It was definitely like...
But good on him for like he wouldn't just walk away either. He'd be like, okay, I'm getting the F out of here.
Yeah, that's true. Before he changes his mind.
Yeah. Well, Tommy, you were saying that there is some good reason for the Hutts to fear the Syndicate. We saw in Clone Wars how, the Syndicate has previously attacked Jabba's palace and forced both Jabba and Gorga the Hutt to join the Shadow Collective. The Hutts, though, aren't exactly safe on their home planet Nal Hutta because the Pyke Syndicate has a fleet of Star Cruisers, and we saw at the end of the episode, and they had previously attacked Gardulla the Hutt on Hutta and forced all the Hutts to flee the planet. We saw that in Rebels. So I believe that the Pyke Syndicate might be more powerful, at least have more of a reach than the Hutt's clan right now that Jabba is dead. And that puts the surviving Hutt family members in a more vulnerable position against the Pyke's growing influence. But what do the Hutts have more than anything than their ability for treachery and deceit?
Yes.
Their ability to play their enemies against each other. They're very clever, these Hutts. They were able to stay silently behind a curtain when Leia thawed out Han Solo from the carbonite.
Right.
Like, there was a whole group of them, and Jabba was able to be like, shh.
Yeah, shh.
We'll get him.
I want to surprise him.
And now.
Surprise!
So, how do you do that if you're as big as Jabba?
Yeah.
How do you stay so silent? With your brain is how you do
right.
it. I think, obviously, what is going on here is the Hutts are staying out of this, but really to set up Boba Fett and the Pikes against each other so that they can reap the benefits.
That's right. Curtain back closed.
Yeah.
Curtain open. Curtain closed.
It's all about the curtains,
Yes.
baby. And I keep saying baby this episode. It's not natural for me.
It works for me, baby. Let me tell you what. It's natural for me. I want it to keep going, baby.
Well, Fennec and Boba even say in this episode that Fets have a reputation for playing their enemies against each other. I totally think that's happening here. But I wanted to ask you about this Rancor, Tommy.
Yes.
It's a crazy gift to give to Boba without getting anything in return. I can't help but wonder if this is a kind of Trojan horse.
Yes.
I can't help but look the Rancor in the mouth.
Yes.
But and Danny Trejo is playing this Rancor handler. I love how he builds on the lore of the Rancor.
Yes.
Talking about its emotional complexity, saying it's depressed.
Yeah.
And then it definitely builds on that little moment that I love from Return of the Jedi when Malakili sobbed when Luke killed Patissa.
That's right. And we all kind of laugh at that without any context, where, like, as a kid, I was like, why is this, like, big, shirtless, bald man crying like a child over it? Now it's like, you know, it makes so much more sense.
He understands what was lost. There was a sweetness in that creature. He was trained to fight, unfortunately, but with other people, he had this nice relationship. And I love that Danny Trejo name drops the Witches of Dathomir, which is originally part of, like, legend stories. They were the group of the Force Witches, and they were kind of reframed as what we saw as the Night Sisters in Clone Wars. That included Talzin, that was Maul's mother. That cult was critical to Maul's restoration, but I love that Trejo uses the old EU term of Witches of Dathomir, because it just kind of hints at a deeper complexity than what we saw in Clone Wars. Nothing wrong with Clone Wars, but there is, like, a deeper history to this group, and now it is official canon in Star Wars, which is awesome.
Right.
And there's more to Rancor psychology than we think. Like, in those legend stories, as was told to Luke Skywalker in those stories, there was a Jedi Knight, Aliyah, who was the grandmother of this group when she was outcasted from the planet. And in her tradition, these group of women, generation after generation, kind of wrangle the Rancors down from the mountains and then domesticate them through this process. And we learned of this process called Rancor imprinting, which is why this Rancor has to wear these blinders, that they will actually be loyal to the first person they see. Now, I don't mean to question this beautiful history to the Rancor species, but I have to ask you, Tommy, could this really be the case as we saw it? Could have been a lie from Trejo's character that Rancors might actually imprint a lifelong hatred on the first person they see. So really the Wrangler opens their eyes to some mortal enemy of theirs. And then it imprints them with a desire to tear that one person to shreds and can never be erased. And that's why Trejo smiles, because can we ever trust a smile from Danny Trejo? Well, am I overthinking this? Am I going to be proven wrong?
I'll be honest, because, you know, he's a fabulous actor and he's great at playing deceitful, evil characters as well as heroic, violent characters. But, you know, one thing that bumped me in this very similar way was that Boba Fett leaves and it's just Danny Trejo and the Rancor, and he just kind of gives him a pat on the head and says he'll be back, you know? Like the way a dog is upset when it's human friend. I almost said owner, but I don't think that's acceptable dog language anymore. Person friend, human keeper. I don't know. You buy, pay, and feed
friend.
for them. Listen, if I have kids, I'm going to say I own them. Delete that. Don't put that in there. The editor's like, no, we're leaving it in, you fucking monster. No. So anyway, what was I saying? Yes, he says it'll be okay. Now, I think that one, that could be doubling down on Danny Trejo's original comment that Rancors are docile unless they're threatened. They're peaceful unless threatened. He says that. So I don't know. I mean, it seems too good to be true. The Trojan horse thing makes way more sense to me that Danny Trejo, it's an actor of that, renown in that role, might be up to more than what he's saying. Maybe the Rancor stuff is all legit, but Danny Trejo's character is not, you know what I mean? Maybe he is much like Jon Snow in the Knights joining the Wildlings, like fight with them, love them, eat with them, or whatever. It's like maybe he's been instructed by the Hutts to train this Rancor for Boba, and then also get as much information as you can. So I think there is something to that. I also thought it was interesting. You know me, and I love my bootleg breakdowns. All two of them, the smash hits on this site. But did Boba Fett make a reference to the holiday special when he said he had ridden larger creatures than that? Is that like dinosaur thing that he's riding?
The huge creature he rides in the animated.
Because Danny Trejo had a similar kind of like thing. Like gun thing that Boba Fett had in that animation special. So I that brought a smile to my face that there was a little
we know that Filoni and this whole crew loves the Star Wars holiday special. Yes. In the first episode of The Mandalorian, they mentioned Life Day. Yes. They mentioned reference to Star Wars.
We're saying Life Day again. We told you that last week. We said that. No, I want to say this. Does this mean we're not far away from a Wookiee masturbation virtual reality machine then?
That might have just been specific to the Star Wars holiday special.
And to my house where I have spent all of my resources.
That's not what that was for, Tommy. That's just what you use it
That's
for.
just a FedEx box I put over my head.
Those are delightful dancers that you watch.
Oh, right.
You just enjoy and you apply.
Yes, you're right. You're right.
No, you made it weird. You made it weird. I'm probably overthinking how vicious and hostile this Rancor is. I think when we're peering into its eyes, I just don't know what to make of that. Yeah. There obviously is a connection formed. There is an imprinting process happening there. I'm just curious to know what exactly the Hutts' intentions were, and I think that there still is a loyalty between Trejo and the Hutts, and I think that eventually will be used as a way to exploit Boba ultimately. Yep. I don't think this is just a pure, honest, trustworthy gift from the Hutts at the end of the day.
I agree.
Well, we'll talk more about what's going on in this episode in a second, but first we want to thank our friends at Magic Spoon for sponsoring this episode. We all love delicious sweet treats, but if you're trying to look as good shirtless as Boba after the Bacta tank, we know we shouldn't be indulging too often, and that's where our friends at Magic Spoon come in. Magic Spoon cereal has 0 grams of sugar, 13 to 14 grams of protein, and only 4 net grams of carbs in each serving. That's only 140 calories a serving. It's keto-friendly, gluten-free, grain-free, soy-free, and low-carb. Grab yourself a variety pack for the 4 flavors of cocoa, fruity, frosted, and peanut butter. Try mixing flavors to be a real maniac, Magic Spooner. Chocolate and peanut butter for a peanut butter cup vibe, or frosted and fruity for a candy-coated winter wonderland. Just go to magicspoon.com/wookieleaks to grab a variety pack and try it today, and be sure to use our promo code WookieeLeaks at checkout to save $5 off your order. Magic Spoon is so confident in their product, it's backed with a 100% happiness guarantee, so if you don't like it for any reason, they'll refund your money, no questions asked. Remember, get your next delicious meal of guilt-free cereal at magicspoon.com/WookieeLeaks and use the code WookieeLeaks to save $5 off, and we thank Magic Spoon for sponsoring this episode. We also want to thank our friends at Peloton for sponsoring this episode. We're lucky to have new Book of Boba Fett episodes to react to every week. You don't want to get burned out doing the same thing every week, every day. That's true for exercise too, and it's why our friends at Peloton are always adding things to their lineup to keep you motivated and excited for your workout. You know Peloton from their really cool bikes and fitness equipment, but they also have a great app that everybody can use, even without the equipment. They've added a ton of workout variety to that app with yoga, dance cardio, meditation, and all kinds of other classes that you can take advantage of from the comfort of your own home. And they've just added boxing classes, which are a great workout. Whether you're a seasoned pugilist or more of a glass jaw Joe, I'm definitely in that second category. I could use some of the work on fundamentals and form that the app classes offer. For a limited time, try the Peloton app for free for 2 months And then $12.99 per month after that. New members only. Visit onepeloton.com/app to learn more. That's 2 months free at ONEPELOTON.com. Offer expires January 1st, 2022. Terms apply. All right, Tommy, I wanted to ask you, what the bet really happened to those Tuskens? Could any of them have survived?
God, I hope so. Obviously the little gaffy stick or staff, little baby staff going in doesn't seem good for the tiny Tusken.
Yeah.
Tiny Tuskens. Coming to TLC, it's Tiny Tuskens. I just picture like dance moms, but it's Tusken Raiders.
Yeah.
No, I think you're not going to States. You mouth off one more time. You're not going to States. So no, I think for that badass Joan Wick female fighting Tusken Raider, I feel like there would have had to have been like 50 Kinton Striders to take her out. So in my mind, in my hopes, in my heart of hearts, I hope that she escaped with the youngling Tuskens and maybe a few of the other ones. But it does appear as though they killed the men, not just the men, Erik, but the women and children too.
The children. Yeah. I mean, it's horrible what happened to them, and I think what's disheartening, even though we don't see the bodies of the warrior that helped them out on the train or that kid, their sticks are pretty sacred to them. I don't know if, especially the warrior who trained him, would ever part ways with that stick.
Yeah.
I hope they survive. I hope some of them survived in some way. It just sucks for them to. I didn't want to see the massacre on screen, but we've gotten such a relationship and an attachment with them in the first 2 episodes.
Yeah,
so
all kidding aside, it was tough to like have get so much of them in the first 2 episodes and then be like, well, now they're gone forever. So
yeah, I mean, and not even. It's just kind of like something we move on pretty quickly from like a third of the way through the episode. It'd be one thing if like you end an episode with this and you're just left with that into the credits. And it's a flashback. You don't need to flashback in the middle of the episode. You can flashback at the end of the episode and just, so I just kind of question whether this is truly the end of any Tusken on the show. I hope it's not, because I really have come to love the Tusken culture, and I don't want Boba Fett to be the only bearer of any Tusken traditions now on the show, because he is just someone who was taught it. And I want to see more Tusken. I don't want them to just be completely massacred. I
agree.
But we know there are, thousands, if not millions, of Tuskens wandering around on this planet. Hopefully 2 of them are ones that we got to know already. But do we think it was just the Kinton Striders who killed them? Am I overthinking that someone else might have just used their signage?
I 100% think, especially because they keep focusing on that logo. They keep focusing on that tag. That is their, it harkens back to the old WCW Monday Nitro days when the NWO would spray paint NWO on people. And every once in a while, someone would frame the NWO by spray painting NWO on a victim. And it would really be, like Ric Flair or somebody like that. So I think that, I think they're being set up as patsies for this. I think the Kinton Striders are being set up as the people that they want you to think, when in reality it's probably someone far more nefarious.
It's just the Pykes themselves.
Yeah, I think so. Like, that makes sense, because the Pykes would have had knowledge, or at least an inkling, that Boba was coming to see them. So like, I don't know how fast that they could get out there, or if they have people on the ready, but like, it stands to reason they knew they had that without their best fighter, or second best fighter, Boba Fett. He's coming there to collect the protection fee. So it's the perfect time to go in and attack, because they probably have spies of their own, scouts that are up there looking. So I think it 100% was the Pykes. That makes the most sense to me.
I think just that little detail of that one Pyke leader swirling his drink. I believe Phil Lamar played him, which I love how they get like these actors in here that we've seen in other stuff. Phil Lamar, of course, voiced Bail Organa and a bunch of other characters in Star Wars animated series. But I think there's something going on there for sure. I don't think we have to assume immediately this has to have just been the Kenton Strider's acting alone.
Yep.
Although they're assholes, I wouldn't put it past them. I don't know if they're war criminals though. They didn't kill that moisture farmer, but I could imagine them having a lesser regard for Tusken Raiders than they do for humans. Okay, I wanted to ask you, what the Fett happens to Black Krrsantan now after his jog out to?
He's still jogging.
He's just marathoning through the desert.
I don't think he's done on this show. Even if he does appear in other, if he's jogging straight out to Ahsoka Tano, or if he's jogging straight out to appear on Obi-Wan, because Obi-Wan's taking place in a different time period anyway, right? So he could be on both anyhow. I think that he's going to regroup. He's going to go, blow off some steam, digest all of the Gamorrean flesh that he has in his stomach from biting and all of that. And then I could see him coming back and helping Boba Fett. I could see him coming back. Yeah,
that's what I'm kind of expecting. Like, I'm expecting to kind of team up. Like, that was another good move of Boba to create a potential ally.
Spared his life. Spare a life. Yeah. Because it would have made way more sense to just keep him down in the Rancor pit and give that little sweet baby some training meals, training wheels and training meals.
Like, whatever he paid you, I'll pay you double. That's right. Like, make a friend out of him.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, I wanted to ask, as we wrap up right here, what the Fett should we really make of this Witches of Dathomir reference from Danny Trejo's character? Are we ever going to meet the Witches of Dathomir in live action? Are we going to meet another character who could be a daughter of Dathomir?
Yeah, I think that's probably it. I think that nothing like that is said by mistake or flippantly. I mean, of course, it's fun to reference, and it's cool because when things became legend and non-canon for Star Wars, a lot of fans were like, I've invested so much in these like side characters and extended universe things. So I think that it is probably setting up for like a badass descendant of the Witches of Dathomir to come in and appear on this show.
I'm thinking the Acolyte. I think that could be what the Acolyte takes place in. A part of the Witches of Dathomir cult. I believe the Acolyte, it's going to be set before the prequels.
Oh, that's brilliant. Yes.
And I think that would be a perfect setting or a perfect place for the Acolyte to take place in, either as a member of that cult in particular or someone who's like fighting against them or has escaped from that cult or whatever it is. I just hope we see more of the Witches of Dathomir.
Me too. I don't think
really, really cool
element. There was a close up on his face as he said the line. Like, I don't think it was. That line was not meant to be, thrown away. That line was meant to establish.
Well, I think we covered a lot of ground in this episode, had a lot of laughs.
Oh, yeah.
Did a lot of bits.
Yeah.
Dug into a lot of theory.
Yes.
Set ourselves up to be proven wrong next week.
Hell
probably.
Yeah. Let us know in the comments when we got it wrong, and I always love a good tweet telling me
you're gonna do it no matter what.
Yeah.
In fact, you probably wouldn't have even watched this episode. You just saw the thumbnail of it, you reacted to it on Twitter or in the comments, and you didn't watch a second of it. But hey, you're young, you're a certain age of fan, and the world probably isn't great for you, so if it makes you feel good to do that, I don't mind.
Yeah,
it's okay.
Let me be your dartboard. Hurl your insults at me. I can take it. Look at this chest. And twins. All right, we'll end there.
Well, that's gotta be it for this episode of Wookieeleaks. Again, my Easter egg breakdown is coming tomorrow, and Tommy and I will be back next Wednesday with our reaction to Chapter 4 of the Book of Boba Fett. So don't forget to check out our many great merch options at newrockstarsmerch.com. Follow me at EA Voss. Follow Tommy at Tommy Bechtold. Follow New Rockstars. Subscribe to Wookieeleaks wherever you get your podcasts. Thank you for watching, and we
have spoken.
I don't know why I did this.
I like that.
That's not Star Wars. I should just do like flicks.
That's fine. I think it was good.